It's big dog season, and you can't stay still because you want it. Mm-hmm. Talk that talk, George. You still scraping your plate because you're hungry. Mm-hmm. Talk that talk.
Good morning. Today it is Saturday. It is January the 4th. The year is 2024. I just got off the phone with the hospital. Earl has now been taken down for his second surgery. They just took him not too long ago. So it's been a long week. It feels like, it feels like, I woke up today and I said, today is Saturday. Yesterday was Friday. My God, it feels like I feel like a whole week went by this week. And then between January 1st, we're just 4 days in. 2025 is rocking and rolling already. Well, he went for his surgery, so. I saw a question I thought was interesting. Somebody asked, how did I meet Earl? Well, it's interesting. I met Earl in 1996. Earl and I went to the same gym together, which was located in City Hall East, Atlanta City Hall East. It was a gym called Lee Haney's. Lee Haney's gym was located in that building that's now Ponce City Market. So I would go there and work out with my trainer Terrence, and I would see Earl in there working out with some girl. I go there, mind my business, work out with my trainer. I had a couple of trainers that I worked out with, but my main trainer was Terrence. I've always been a person, I worked out with a personal trainer. I've always had a trainer. I could always afford it. For me, having a trainer is like having a workout partner, but somebody was paying for it to help me get through my workouts. So I always had a personal trainer. And people are always like, why do you always have a trainer? I'm like, well, because niggas don't want to work out. And I got somebody who's making me work out. And it was just a better scenario for me. Anyway, I would see this guy in the gym with these dreadlocks, and we did not like each other. I don't know what it was, but every time I would see this guy with these long dreadlocks, he'd look at me and roll his eyes, and I'm like, what's on his problems? I just ignore him. This went on for quite a while. I see him in the locker room. He look at me and, weird, and I just kind of like, and I never said anything to him. We never communicated, but I could tell there was maybe this person knew who I was. And back then I was a popular person. I've always been popular. A lot of people didn't like me, and then everybody had, gay people can be so funny about stuff. They don't know, people say all kinds of stuff about me to other people, and back then it was just all this crazy shit that was being said, but I didn't give a fuck because I had a house in Stone Mountain, a brand new car. I was living a good life. I wasn't thinking about them niggas. I'd tell them niggas, fuck y'all! I was living life. And people would say this horrible stuff about me, and I just reached a point where I just didn't give a fuck no more. I said, I don't care, because they're not paying my bills. So in the summer of 1996, spring of 1996, rather, I'm in the gym working out, and then I see this guy come in with shaved head, bald head. He came in, and I looked at him. I said, well, he's an attractive guy. I'd never seen him before. So he came in, I spoke to him, he spoke to me, we smiled at each other, and he went on to the locker room. Later on, when he was working out, I came up and spoke to him. I was in the early stages of being the Jehovah's Witness at the gym at that point. I went up and spoke to him, we talked, and he said, you never talked to me before. I said, I've never seen you before. He said, yeah, you see me every day. I said, we be here, we work literally at the same time every day. He said, you're here every day with Terrence working out. I've seen you here every day. I said, I've never seen you before. He said, yeah, I cut my hair off. I said, cut your hair off? He said, yeah, I cut those dreads off. And that's when I said, he took them dreads off. He looked like a he looked like a completely different person. I said, oh, you're that guy that don't like me. He said, I never said I don't like you. I said, yeah, you look at me so weird. He said, I thought you didn't like me. That's what the girl told me. So that's how we met in the early spring of 1996. Because I remember it was the Olympics. No, let me get this straight. Because the Olympics was in 1996. And Earl and I didn't start dealing with each other until after the Olympics. I met him, but it was after the Olympics that we started to get to know each other. It took some time because we did meet, but we didn't start hanging around until later on after the Olympics. And one of the reasons why I remember this clearly is because that fall of 1996, I had a big Thanksgiving dinner, and he had Thanksgiving dinner with his family members. And later on, after Thanksgiving dinner, he ended up coming back to my place. I gave it all the niggas about it there. He ended up coming back to my place. And I was in there cleaning up, and he was like, wow, you must have had a really big dinner over here. And I said, yeah, I did. Back then I was young, so I was cleaning up, scrubbing, everything was clean. 24, I was 26 years of age at that time. Yeah, I remember this clearly. That Thanksgiving. And the reason I remember that Thanksgiving because he had Thanksgiving at his house and I had Thanksgiving at my home. And Earl was living with his ex, this guy named Kendall. So Kendall was, they had, Kendall had, they were in a relationship that had ended or was ending. I don't know. But Earl was living with Kendall, who was his ex at that time. I don't know. I don't know what transpired between the two of them. But anyway, me and Earl hit it off great at that time in 1996. We got along great. We were laughing. We were having fun. Everything was just going honky-dory for the first couple of years. And 1996 was actually a good year for me because I was the Olympics. Going into 1997, I built a brand new home out in Lithonia. Earl finally got, when I moved into my house in Lithonia, I built that house out in Lithonia in 1997. I built a brand new house in 1997. I'm just trying to think of the details of what happened. Where was Earl staying? I think Earl was still oh yeah. So Earl was still staying in with Kendall. Then eventually their lease expired and they ended up, Earl used to get an apartment off South Harrison Road. So I was getting my house up there. Oh, he took a job with the DeKalb County Schools. I remember it now. Because Earl was originally working for Atlanta Public Library System, and he left that and went to go work for DeKalb County Schools. And so he chose the school near the house I was building. So I'm in 1997. It was a brand new school, Stevenson High School. I remember that. It was not too far from where I was living, my new house. I mean, everything was great. Then slowly rumors started getting around that Earl was dating Walter Hampton. This fine guy who just appeared mysteriously. Earl was in a relationship, so he wasn't really out in the scene and nobody knew him. And when he got that job at the DeKalb County Schools, he went from working in a quiet place like the public library to going to a school system with gay folks everywhere, and people knew me. Word began to spread that Earl was dating this guy named Walter, who was a well-known individual. I used to have pool parties at my house, and I had it in Stone Mountain. Even after my mother moved into my old house, I still was having pool parties over there. And pool parties helped pay the rent. So word got around town to Earl that Earl and people began to approach Earl. We didn't have no internet back then, no cell phones, none of that, but we just had some gossiping people. And they kept up a whole lot of gossip. So it wasn't too long before Earl would come home and say, well, I spoke to this person named so-and-so, and they said this. And I'm like, okay, who was that? I don't know them, and what they say, and why did they say it to you, and who cares? So this became an issue because with Earl and I, and because, of course, Earl having just really entered into the community, he was in a relationship the prior 5 years before I met him, and they lived together. They had moved they met in college, and they moved from Tallahassee to Atlanta together, him and Kendall. I just spoke to Kendall a few days ago. They were living, when they broke up, I guess Earl was trying to find himself, get a footing in the world or something. I said, I already knew that. I found myself. I wasn't worried about these people. But this began to have an impact on our relationship because you got a lot of haters out there. You know, I had a nice brand new house, and I had new cars, and I was just living a good life, and people just didn't like that. And what really accelerated things, in 1998, I built another brand new house in the old 4th. So I went, in 1997, I had a brand new house built. And then I rented that house out, and I built the house downtown Atlanta. And that's when all hell broke loose. Because after I built that house in downtown Atlanta, I built a pool behind the house. That's when Earl and I made the decision, because we've been together 2 years now. We made the decision, you know what? Instead of you paying this rent, at that time he had moved to Roosevelt. I said, well, your lease is up, you can move in with me. So we made the decision, okay, so we're going to move in together in 1998. That's when we started living together. And when I tell you, all hell broke loose. The day he moved into that house with me in 1998, in June of 1998, one of his friends and co-workers told him, why'd you move in there with him? I'd have never moved in there with him. The day he moved in there. And it just, jealousy, envy, hate. I remember we had a house on top of a hill. And I would see people driving by looking up at that house, and I didn't think nothing about it. And I found out it was one of my neighbors on a couple of streets over was telling people, that damn Walter, he bought this house, this beautiful house, you gotta go see it. And he would send people around there to look at that house. I'm thinking like, it was in the ghetto. At the time, Old 4th Ward was horrible. And that was a rough area. But I put a pool in the backyard and, went about making a happy home. But that happiness was soon to be marred because people kept approaching Earl with all this negative stuff about me. One day, Earl went to work. Earl had switched by this time, he left the Cobb County schools and went to Atlanta public schools, so he was paying more money. So Earl we moved into the house on Rankin Street. Earl then took a job working off the Bankhead Highway at a school over there. And he met a guy at Human Resources. And one day the guy, remember we didn't have no internet, cell phones, none of this stuff was going on. I think internet was slowly starting to come, but it wasn't really like you go in there and Google nothing and Google somebody, nothing like that. We had that dial-up mess, American Online. So one day Earl came home from school, he came home early, he was just stressed. And I was in the house. And at this time, I was just starting to renovating house. I bought the house next door, and I was working on it. I was starting to do some because I had been did minor little projects with some realtors, but this was the first house I purchased. I bought the house next door, and I was setting about renovating, and I was going to do all this stuff to it. So Earl came home, and he took out his briefcase, and he had this folder. He said, I have to show you something. I'm like, okay, what is this? And he opened up the folder, and there were mug shots of me my criminal record, all this stuff about me. What is this? And someone who called himself liking Earl found out Earl was dating me and wanted to let Earl know my background and who I was. Yeah, I know I don't keep no secrets, honey. Earl already knew all this shit any damn way. But it surprised me that somebody would go that far as to print out mug shots. I don't even know where he got this stuff from. He did get this stuff because he worked in human resource. He was able to pull these records and stuff and get us to Earl. Like, be careful, this is what's going on with him. Earl should have took that shit and tossed it in the trash can is what he should have did. The nigga already knew about this shit. Get the fuck out of my damn face. That's how he should have handled this individual. But instead, he took the folder, put this in his briefcase, and come back to me. What are we going to do? I said, what am I going to do? I ain't doing shit. Nothing I can't do has already been done. I already did it. What do you want me to do? You tell that nigga to gave this shit. Matter of fact, I told him, give it back to him. I throw it in the trash. I don't want to see that mess. But this began the problem with people seeing us living in a nice house, nice cars. Earl had went and got that damn... Earl got that damn truck. He had a Ford Expedition. He bought a brand new Ford Expedition. And people saw him buying that expensive truck. You know, back then, the Ford Expedition, people were like, oh, he got an Expedition. It was ridiculous. But this is began the problems that people, I'd always tell anybody, because I have a friend who just, if you're going to be in a relationship, try to keep it as quiet as possible. Try to keep it as quiet as possible. Keep pictures off the internet of you all in your relationship. Social media is fun for entertainment, but it can be very stressful if you're in a relationship, especially a new relationship. I would refrain from posting pictures. It's nobody's business. But I was having an issue with people inserting themselves into Earl and our relationship, and Earl didn't know how to slam the door on these motherfuckers on their face. He was too busy trying to be polite to people. Somebody actually has your folder with photographs and the criminal record of your lover. You already know this shit exists. Get that shit back and say, man, get the fuck out of my face. You know? That's what should have been done. That's how I felt. But anyway. This began that process of us starting to, not me, but him, starting to have issues with what these people said, and family members and friends and everybody inserting themselves. I remember one time my sister came over there and we were out in the house downtown. The house is gorgeous, beautiful. It was a beautiful house. And my sister was like, why are you living there? We should be living here. Why should y'all be living in my house? Me almost 30 years of age. At that point, I was 28, 29 years of age. I might have been 30 when she said this. I was already babysitting the kids when they got out of school, allowed them to come into the house. What is going on here? Why do you need to live in this house? And they would say stuff to Earl. My friends and family members. I remember one time me and Earl had a real estate close, a whole bunch of shit going on. We were trying to get this shit resolved. And at that time I had mama cleaning the house, which was another mistake because she in there cleaning and cooking. And she told Earl it was Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. And I said, okay. And I had to fire her that day. She couldn't come back over there to clean that house. It was just too much shit going on. Our home should have been a peaceful environment because I was starting to renovate houses. There were workers coming over there. There was family members coming over there. Everybody was showing up at this house on a daily basis, and it started to turn into a very nightmarish situation. This is when we started to have literally physical confrontations, which should never have happened. Every situation that happened between Earl and I is because somebody inserted themselves into our relationship and created conflict between he and I every time. Leave. That's why when you all see these videos now, ain't nobody in this motherfucking house. I ain't playing that game no more. I learned years ago, you can't come to my house and sit up here and no. You want to have a peaceful house, keep them niggas out your home. You want to have a peaceful time, keep the niggas out your home, keep them off your, keep them away. We coming to spend the night. Oh, no, you ain't. I learned my lesson. People would fly in town, and we live right downtown. We had an extra bedroom, and I had rented out the apartment on that house on Rankin Street. So people come into town, his family members and friends. If the apartment wasn't rented out, we just let them stay back there. It just created a whole bunch of mess. Earl's sister lived in that apartment back there. My sister lived back there. That was mistakes written to them hussies. My sisters, neither one of them women should never, ever have rented that apartment back behind us. But you live and you learn. But anyway, back to 2024. I'm listening out for, they just took Earl to have his surgery. They're supposed to close him up. So I spoke to the doctor late last night. They were, she told me they were going to take him in early. He has a 10% chance of surviving the surgery, based on some computer stimulation or something. I don't know. So she said 10%. She wanted to make sure because I had to agree to give consent for Earl to have the second operation. Earl agreed to consent for the first operation. Because now he's out on a ventilator and everything like that. They haven't brought him. They can't. He's still under sedation. He's still knocked out. So all I can do is just sit here and wait. I didn't get any sleep last night, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, I'll toss and turn all that night long. I just got on up. It's about 8:53 now. I heard from him about 8 something, right before I started this video. I was gonna go up there, and I said, well, I don't want to be up there while he's having his surgery. And something goes wrong. I don't want to be there in that environment. Not there. Yeah, I don't want to be there. So anyway, here I'm sitting in his house. Of course, it gets lonely over here. I'm not a lonely type person, but of course, when something's going on, it's kind of like, okay, I gotta talk to somebody. I was talking to Ginger and Grayson last night. They didn't get it. They just run around eating, looking for dog biscuits. They run around eating. I let them out for a little bit, and I was gonna let them sleep with me. They're still too wild. They just jump and run I can't do that. I'm trying to sleep. They all over the damn place. They running, jumping. They don't know how to get in bed and lay down and go to sleep. The only time they go to sleep is when I put them in a cage. I put them in a cage, 10 minutes later, and they're asleep. But if I let them out to come to my bedroom, they're running all over the damn place. Ginger just everywhere, just bouncing off the walls. I'm like, get your ass up in this bed and go to sleep. So one time I had tried to bring their cages up there and put it in the room. I mean, they're in the cage whining and screaming all night because they see me on the bed sleep. So I said, nah, y'all got to stay down in the basement, dwellers. Stay down there. I peeked on them last night. I don't know. I couldn't sleep last night. So I got up and I crept downstairs just to see what they're down there doing. And I looked in there on them and they were in there sleeping. I said, they're asleep. So right now, I guess in the next hour or two, I will know if Earl made it through the surgery. So anyway, I hope that answered the question that you all had about where I met Earl. I met him here in Atlanta at what's now known as Ponce City Market. Back then it was Atlanta City Hall East. And before that it was Sears. It was a Sears department store. When I first moved here in 89, it was open. It was a Sears. So there's a lot I could say about Earl and I could be here all day long. But it's going on 9 o'clock, and I want to take these dogs out because it's cold, and I want to feed them. Kids, and if I have to run to this hospital, I need to get this out of the way. So let me let me conclude this video so I can go take them out. It's 8:56. It's going on 9. That way, if I have to rush up to the hospital, I want to get dressed, shower, and dress. And then get out of here. But today is Saturday, January 4th. The year is 2025. Did I say 24 earlier? I don't know. It's a new year. I'm out of here, and I'll let y'all know what's going on later.